So looking now to a question about minimum weight. This is from PRHS Fan Club Tube section. And the question is, why did the FA change the minimum weight for the cars?
That's a very good question. First of all, call it simplification of the power unit 2026 versus previous generation came with partially in some areas some significant weight reduction. So it was appealing. More importantly, the cars have added weight constantly over the last 20 years or plus, and it has become a source of, and in my view, rightly so, a source of criticism from the drivers because it makes a car less agile, less nice to drive for them, and to really show they're the best drivers in the world. So one of the clear targets was with this new set of regulations that is aimed to be also a bit simpler on some areas, to get a system to reduce the weight of the cars. The target we set 2 years ago were ambitious, but the numbers were the result of many iterations with the teams. What they thought was challenging but possible, and we went all in on that bet, which has also the beauty to partially, even if the step is maybe still not big enough for the drivers, to make the car lighter, but also to open eventually a slightly other avenue of competition where weight is, it's not just about the power unit and the aerodynamics as well as the tire, but there is also another avenue, which is weight, which especially nowadays when you see the road cars and the increase of electrification in most parts of the world, weight is an issue. And every road manufacturer is ready to pay quite a lot to save weight on the cars because of the penalty coming from the battery. So it allows us also to send a signal that I think has some validity in the outside world.
We want to go much more in the future for weight reduction. This is the first step, as Jan said. But even this first step, initial comments from drivers is that they feel it. They do feel the cars to be more nimble. It's not just words. It's they do actually feel it, in their body. So I think that is a positive initial feedback.
And there's also a challenge, is there not, in adding safety measures, which in some cases adds a little bit of extra weight, and balancing that against reducing the overall weight of the car? That's also been a challenge for the FIA, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, safety is first. I think we are motor racing is inherently dangerous. Cars are doing 300, 350 kph and racing each other. It will always be more dangerous than snooker. But I think we can be quite proud in the FIA, a lot of people who've worked on safety, and you have cars that are so fundamentally safe when accidents do happen, but while remaining a dangerous sport. So that will never be compromised. And a big part of this weight increase that Jan mentioned over the last 20 years has been because of safety. The halo, stronger nose, stronger sides, everything on the car is much more robust. And that's why we have drivers feeling a lot safer. But yes, that has had the negative of increasing the weight, and that's what we're trying to claw back, but never compromise on safety.
We have a question from Mamo0610MV1, who watched our video, our technical explainer video, a couple of days ago, and noticed some flashing lights on the mirrors and wants to know what the lights are for.
These are the lateral safety light, which we have introduced this year as a new safety enhancement feature. And essentially, the idea is if the car is stopped on track and eventually would not necessarily be forward-facing as you would hope, would eventually be stopped on car perpendicular to the main driving direction in low visibility condition like rain, the following drivers will not see the safety light, which is on the rear wing end plate and on the rear crusher. So lights that will start flashing if the car is stopped to effectively send a signal to following car, which under those conditions, under low visibility, is a safety enhancement because it will warn the driver, which might not have a tool.
MJ Handler 11 is intrigued to know more about the modes that we've introduced. We've talked about boost, overtake, recharge, etc. Maybe Nicholas or Jan, you could just walk
maybe
us through those modes.
Yeah, sure. The most visible for people and one which is highly discussed in the press and various forum is the straight mode, which is essentially opening the rear wing and dropping the front wing flap in order to, on the straight line, minimize the drag so that the engine is not burning little energy it has to fight against the parasitic aero drag. So that's probably the most visible, which will be in dry condition actuated on almost all the long straight lines, and sometimes when the car can take it also in some high-speed cornering. Then we've got the overtake. The overtake essentially replaces what the DRS used to do, which is for a following car that is close enough to the leading car. If a given threshold 1 second is being reached, then the following car will be allowed to deploy normally more electrical power for the lap to have a chance to overtake. And obviously, because he's got more power and therefore he will burn more energy, he can recover half a megajoule more in the lap.